Hey guys, Movie Junkie for Life here, and this is going to be my review of King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword. And this one is directed by Guy Ritchie, and it stars Charlie Hunnam. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Djimon Hounsou, Jude Law, Eric Bana, and a bunch of others. So this is Guy Ritchie's take on the Arthurian legend. In this one, I should say Arthur's father is betrayed by his brother, played by Jude Law. And Arthur is raised on the streets in a brothel, so he's a very different kind of Arthur. Until one day he is forced to face who he is, whether he likes it or not. Now, let me start by saying that I'm going to be a bit biased on this one because I'm a huge fan of Guy Ritchie. From the first time I ever saw Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, or Lock, Stock and Smoking Barrels, to Snatch and everything in between, even The Man from Uncle, I really love his style of directing. It's not for everybody, but I love the way that he directs his films. They feel very energetic to me. So when I heard he was doing his take of Arthur, I had to see this thing. And he also co-wrote the screenplay. So did I like it? Well, let me break it down for you guys. First of all, I'll start with the visuals. The opening scene, I think like the first 15 minutes of this movie, is all Guy Ritchie. It's very stylistic. It's very much his way of doing things. And I loved it. I really enjoyed the look of this film. Granted, it was a little washed out, the color tones and that sort of thing. I wish it was a bit brighter, but overall, I really love the look of this film. I love fantasy films. I don't even care. I even love the so-so ones like Krull and Willow. I love fantasy films. And I got a kick out of this version of Arthur because usually when you see King Arthur stories, it's done realistically, from the last one they had to with Clive Owen, where they showed you Arthur possibly existing in very early British times, kind of Roman background and all of that, to everything in between. It's always been kind of grounded. So this is the first time we got an Arthur film where it was very fantastical. There's magic in this. There's, granted, you have Merlin and Mordred and all of that stuff. It is touched upon in other films, but everybody tends to do it more subtle. Here, it's all about the fantasy. It's very kind of Lord of the Rings, and I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it a lot. The action is also really well shot. It's, like I said, it's very Guy Ritchie. If you're familiar with his way of shooting action, you're going to enjoy it. The songs as well, I thought the choices of songs used were really good. It was his own take on some songs that you've heard before, and it's also some stuff that seemed new for this film. I thought it fit in well, and I always think a good soundtrack is one that doesn't overwhelm a movie. It's there in the background and it's not really getting on your nerves and that sort of thing. I thought the music here was really good, and it did a lot to elevate the story. It made you feel the feels when you're supposed to and that sort of thing. And acting wise, I have to give props to Charlie Hunnam. I think it's so cool that he's branching out. He's trying to do a lot of different things. I haven't seen The Lost City of Z yet, but I heard he's really good in it. And since Sons of Anarchy, he's done a slew of different things, different genres, Pacific Rim and all these sorts of things. So his take on King Arthur, I really liked it. I liked an Arthur that was the reluctant hero. This isn't an Arthur who pulled his sword out of the stone and then he has all the answers. He saw something very traumatic when he was young, and he has nightmares. He doesn't want to be a king. He doesn't want to be the hero that everybody wants him to be, but he steps up when he has to, and he's very loyal to his friends and stuff. So I really dug that. I really loved his character. That said, overall I really enjoyed this movie, but it's not the strongest of films. First of all, the character of the mage, I kind of had an issue with how monotone she was. I know the actress seemed to be going for this mysterious I'm a witch kind of thing, but she would speak in one tone all through, no matter what was happening. And I really wanted more from that character. I even at one point I thought maybe she's supposed to represent Guinevere, but I don't think that's what it is. Um, she just, for somebody so powerful and so cool, I really liked all her abilities and all that sort of thing. I just find the actress herself, maybe that's how she was directed to play the character, but it was just too flat for me. I also would have loved more development of the side characters, because it's all about Arthur and his knights. And while he does have his friends and they're loyal to him and they do get some screen time, it's not as much as I would have hoped for. I would have liked to see more interaction between Arthur and his friends, showing you where that loyalty comes from. They do address it. They do show you Arthur growing up, and it's done really quickly in the first half of the film. But there's a lot of that, and that to me, it worked sometimes, but it also had a negative effect in the sense that, for instance, when Arthur is told that he has to journey to this special place to learn how to use the sword, they kind of just go really fast through it. We don't get to see that hero's journey. And this is again because Guy Ritchie's style of doing things is always very frenetic and energetic. Everything is fast, fast, fast. But here it kind of affects the story, because you get that whole thing where you get exposition about what he's supposed to do and what he's supposed to learn, and then you get flashes of what he's doing. I would have liked to see more of the hero's journey, because in fantasy films that is what works. When you get to journey with the hero, you get to go through all those trials and tribulations with that hero character. I would have loved more of that. Jude Law, I think he did a good job as the villain. He's just this evil king type. Again, I would have liked a little more development in why he got so evil. They do say that he went to live with the mages for a while and he studied with Mordred. If you follow King Arthur's stories, you'll know who Mordred is. But it just kind of felt like he was evil for evil's sake. He talks about how power is addictive and that sort of thing. And he's just a bad guy. There's no real layers to him. So the story does suffer because of that sort of thing, where they kind of rush through. But overall, I thought this movie looked really good. The actors were likable. And Charlie Hunnam definitely is, to me, he's the strength of this film. He is a very good, original, fresh take on King Arthur. And he made me enjoy watching it all the way through. So this one, guys, I was hoping for a bit more. I was really excited for it. And I did enjoy it. I was never bored with this movie. But it isn't the best take on King Arthur. It does get sloppy at times. And I really wish that they would have slowed down and give us a little more development with the side characters. Give us a little more of the hero's journey. And I think if they had done that, this movie would have been much better. So I'm going to give King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it a lot. I wouldn't even mind watching it again. I did see it in 3D and I hated that. I was trying to catch the 2D show, but it was going to be a lot later and I didn't want to come back. Don't see this movie in 3D. It's really, really dark in some places. It looks like it was shot in 2D and then they did that 3D thing afterwards and it doesn't look good. There's no reason to see this movie in 3D. It adds 0 to the film. It's spectacular enough that you could enjoy it just how it was meant to be, and that's 2D. So that's it, guys. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And if you like fantasy films, if you're a fan of Charlie, if you love Guy Ritchie's way of directing, I think you're going to have a ball with this. If you're not a Guy Ritchie fan, then I think you're probably going to say I'm crazy and this movie is nowhere near as enjoyable as I'm saying it is. So it's going to be all up to you. Okay, guys, so until next time, bye-bye.